Hello there, I'm the student, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can get Prussia as a personal union as any nation in the entire game. And yes, that includes that you can get a personal union as republics or theocracies or tribal nations, or even as any other religion that normally cannot get personal unions, such as Sunni Ottomans over here that I started from the 80 years war start date. I just played like 30 years to do the setup, and this is literally all that it takes. 30 years as the Ottomans in this case. And the biggest downside is, of course, you need Prussia, so it's Tech 10 technically. But I'm going to go into detail right now. You see, Prussia as a march is already pretty powerful. Okay, so you can see I have them as a march right now. They have 33,000 troops, and yeah, of course their army quality is like insane, right? But you're going to see in a second that it gets way better, because marches have one big problem. First of all, they are only a valid march for sent officers if they are below 25% of your own development. Now, of course, in this case, this isn't really a problem. They have just 10% right now. But that means that I can't really feed them any more than like 300, 400 development, right? Now, on top of that comes that they gain liberty desire from development. So you can see this 140 development is already giving them 43% liberty desire. And now if you imagine that I want to give them like 400 to the maximum development, right? Then that would of course mean that they would have like 200% liberty desire from development. And at some point it just gets impossible to keep them loyal for that matter. And as I said, you are still restricted to keeping them small to have the march bonuses active. On top of that, they also gain very big maluses for being a subject nation that, for example, a personal union doesn't get. Now, first of all, personal unions in comparison to vassals, for example, they don't pay you taxes, and that is actually a good thing, because that means that their balance will be way better. Now, of course, marches also don't, but you see, personal unions don't calculate liberty desire from development at all. Okay, not at all. So you can literally feed Prussia the entirety of North Germany, and they would remain perfectly loyal. And they would have their own trade. Of course, you can't transfer trade, which I wouldn't recommend. As you can see, I'm not doing it right now either, because they have their own trade, have their own economy. They won't pay any taxes for that matter, and therefore they will not only have the land that they need to have a strong army, but also the economy that they need to have a strong army, while still being 100% loyal and also coming into every single war that you have. And now if you imagine that you will have a Prussia personal union, then it gets even more interesting. You can see they have already the Prussian monarchy, of course, and one big problem is, as a march or a vassal, they can only be government rank duchy, whereas as a personal union, they can increase their government rank. So once I would feed them 300 development, they will increase their government rank once they gain enough prestige to a kingdom rank. And that, of course, means that they can have way more land than they can have right now because of the governing capacity modifier. Now, on top of that, you're going to see that they, of course, have the insane discipline bonuses from that as well, right? And they have insane scripted historical idea groups that they choose. You can see innovative, offensive, diplomatic quality, and the policies between that give, of course, infantry combat ability again, as well as 10% discipline in total, which they are already, if you have a look on the army quality comparison discipline, they are already the second highest disciplined country in the world with 117% discipline, and they even have the third highest morale in the entire world. And that is literally how strong such a nation is. And that's why I said, this is with 33,000 troops. Imagine that would be a personal union that owns all of North Germany and has 100,000 troops. A Prussia personal union is absolute monstrous. So now that I talked you into gaining a Prussia personal union and telling you why that is such a good idea, let me show you how you can do it. Because yes, I am the Ottomans, I am Sunni, I normally won't be able to get personal unions at all, but there is a very special trick for Prussia that you can use. That is with the use of Brandenburg. You can see Brandenburg is also my vassal, and that is exactly all the setup that you need. No more setup than this. You need a Prussia subject, which, by the way, you can, for example, vassalize Pommern or something, and then feed them these lands as your vassal, and they will form Prussia while still being your vassal, because Prussia can be formed as a subject nation. So the AI will do that if you let them, basically. Now, the other thing is they need to be the same religion, which I would recommend. Of course, you can check that out. You can do that very early. Then they will both be Catholic, most likely. Or if you do it later, such as in this case, you have to make sure that they are both the same religion, in this case Protestant, which you can by, for example, full annexing them, converting the provinces either via rebels or with your missionary or something, right? And then releasing them. It really doesn't matter what religion they are. They could also be like Sunni, for example. The only important thing is that they are the same religion. And now the last thing is they both need to be a monarchy. So if you, for example, play as whatever, Genoa or something, you will have to let them be released by another monarchy and then diplomatically vassalize them, or via war, of course, right? Because if you take the lands yourself and then release a subject there, then they will overtake your government type. So you have to be a little bit careful there. But this is the setup, okay? Prussia and Brandenburg as a vassal, and then both at the same religion and both are a monarchy. That's it. Okay, now to the trick. The thing is that there is a very special event that makes Prussia a personal union of Brandenburg, as it happened historically. Now, this event happens if Prussia has an opinion of Brandenburg of at least 100. Okay, so you go to the opinion map mode and then click on Brandenburg and then hover over Prussia, and then you can see Prussia's opinion of Brandenburg and also their attitude. You can see that right now there was an event earlier, it is 63 opinion. To increase that, all you need to do is you need to have them allied, and it is actually very simple to do that. So let me just show you how it works. I'm going to revoke the March status for now. They will become my personal union in a second anyways. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them just a tiny bit disloyal, which you can very easily do with enable scuddage, disable scuddage, okay? And you do that as long as it takes you to get them just slightly above 50% liberty desire. Same for Brandenburg, you also need to make them disloyal. There we go, so they are both very close to being loyal still, so no problem to make them loyal after. But they are disloyal for now. And what happens is, if you have two vassals that are disloyal, that they will ally each other very, very consistently, especially if they have the same religion and if they like each other that much as Brandenburg and Prussia do. So let me just let the game run and see how long it takes them to actually ally each other. You're going to see that already the attitude changed to friendly, as you can see, on both sides. So they are now very close to ally each other. And there we go. You can see they have allied Brandenburg, as I said, which will happen like every single time I've tested it. It just took me a few months, but you just need to be a little bit patient, and they will ally each other within a year. So no worries about that. And now you can see, if you have a look at the opinions, that they are at 113 opinion of Brandenburg, and that is the only number that counts for the event trigger. You see, if this conditional modifier of the event wouldn't be there, traditional inheritance, and if even same dynasty wouldn't be there, then you would be at exactly 75 opinion at that point. Now, what you can do is, first of all, you can get them loyal right now, because it really doesn't matter at that point anymore. They won't break the alliance anymore. So let's just maybe dev that up a few times. So now they are loyal again, and what you can do is you can declare a war, which means that they will be in a war together, and that would push them exactly at 100 opinion, which lets the event trigger even without the same dynasty and without the event modifier. Now that's basically it. All you need to do right now is to wait for Brandenburg to trigger the event, which has a mean time of happening of only 1 year, so it should go really fast in this case. And let's just see how long it takes me to trigger the event and get Prussia as a personal union. And there it is. It took me, if I'm correct, 2.5 years to trigger, so very unlucky. But you can see this is a personal union with Prussia. And now let me just tell you what happened in that event. That Brandenburg actually triggered the event to PU Prussia, as they did historically. And as they were my subject, subjects cannot have personal unions, of course, right? So what the game did is it basically transferred the union to the next higher overlord that can have personal unions, which actually is the Ottoman Empire in this case. Now, of course, I wouldn't be able to get personal unions with a normal sense, so I can't claim any thrones or anything like that. But I can get personal unions by event, and that is exactly what happened right here. I gained a personal union on Prussia, and that is exactly what I was talking about, that you can see they are now my personal union as Prussia. They have my ruler, so I can basically also give them insane amounts of mana by just having good rulers myself. You can see they will keep filling their ideas, will keep getting stronger. They, of course, went down a lot because my subsidies were out, basically. But now I can again start subsidizing them. And yeah, let's just do 20 ducats. And yeah, you're going to notice that they are, of course, super loyal right now. You can see, even with disabled Scottish modifier, which will go down, over time, they are super loyal because they get 0% liberty desire from their development. Now what I could do, or what I would recommend you to do after getting the personal union, feed them all of North Germany. What that means is that they will start gaining huge amount of troops that have way superior quality that you could ever get in your entire game. And the best part, as I said, this even works as any religion in the game, as any government type in the game. It literally doesn't matter. So you can, for example, play Genoa, do a merchant republic thing, and you would probably want to play with subjects anyways, right? You don't want to own that much yourself as a merchant republic. You can just get Prussia as a personal union, and even though you are way smaller than them, it doesn't matter because they don't calculate the liberty desire from subjects development. So you can just feed them whatever you want. You could feed them the entirety of Russia. It doesn't matter. You can have a crazy strong Prussia as a personal union as any nation in the world. it is a very good opportunity to gain a huge professional army to use without gaining those professional idea groups yourself. So if you play, for example, a merchant-focused nation that you don't want to take quality ideas, for example, then you have Prussia to deal with your enemies, basically. So I think this is a really, really neat trick that you can gain a Prussia-personal union as any religion, as any government type in the game. But this is it for today. We are going to see, as always, on another Monday.